Permit me to show you something. I think this is probably going to, in a sense, unveil something that for the longest time has gone without any scrutiny on this whole gaming conversation scene. PlayStation has been allowed to get away with everything, while Xbox has been put through the crucible every single step that they've taken as a publisher. Now, there's this claim that goes around that has always gone to say, or in a sense, conclude within its own, I don't know, little hive, that Game Pass is bad for the industry. It cannibalizes sales and it's not good for developers. I've always thought that that was a very silly claim and was bereft of any logical reasoning. But I've come at the argument from the perspective of the developers choose to actually put their games on Game Pass, which is actually a valid rebuttal. Like if the developer says Game Pass should go pound sand, Game Pass will go pound sand, and the developer can take their game to the market to do what they want with it. This has never been a question. Xbox doesn't have a gun to any developer or publisher's head saying you must put your game on Game Pass. So you got to swat that argument down with just a little bit of sensibility, and then it disappears. However, on the other hand, there's something that PlayStation does that's actually quite interesting and, in a sense, not unique to them. However, something that Xbox did a while back, but they've kind of, in a sense, backed away from more lightly than, PlayStation themselves, and that's money hiding games. And I want to show you the full circle of this money hiding games so that we can see how I think that this particular, strategy is actually bad for developers, even much worse than you would or you could ever conceive for those people who forge Game Pass is bad for developers type, conclusions. It's even worse than they can actually even dream. Let's go ahead and take this to, games, and we'll take a very interesting example, or I think a case study will be in order here. This is Stellar Blade. It's only available on PlayStation right now. Developed by the Korean developer. I think I don't remember their name. I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and try to guess who the developer is. Maybe I can scroll down, but that's not pertinent. This is Lies of P by another Korean developer. And this game was on Game Pass, where Stellar Blade is only on the PlayStation platform. So right now, what you mean to tell me is this game being locked to this ecosystem, being money hatted, somehow is good for the industry, while this game that's available to everyone, because it was on Game Pass, is somehow the Game Pass's strategy is bad. When PlayStation themselves would then take their own game and go to another platform and increase their addressable market. Let me quote or loosely quote the words of Sean Layden. Sean Layden said that the Achilles heel of any exclusive game is that exclusivity thing itself, whereby the game reduces its addressable market. Stellar Blade, by default, has a reduced addressable market. What's funny is that the publisher who said, hey, stay on our platform, has gone to increase its own addressable market, hindering a small developer from enjoying that benefit at the same time. Whereas the Game Pass strategy, for the most part, doesn't hinder you from this. In some situations, yes, you'll stay on Game Pass for a while and then go elsewhere, like in the case of Stalker 2 and maybe some other smaller games. I think it's based on maybe some level of support from Xbox. I don't know the terms, but I hate it either way. I think the game Stalker should have also been available on other platforms, including PlayStation, day one. There's no need for the game to be maintaining any kind of exclusivity. The developers have gone through so much to put that game out in production. So to me, it makes no sense that a 6-month exclusivity is actually a thing that exists because it's a third-party exclusive. If Xbox wanted to go ahead and invest in the company to maybe get a portion of sales, that would have probably been a viable strategy because it will give the game the opportunity to sell more. But I digress. When that game comes out, I hold that criticism aside for Xbox. So anybody that's telling me that the Game Pass, thing is bad for developers, especially when the developers have the option to basically put their game on Game Pass and be able to put it on other platforms, is just straight lying. They're shielding PlayStation. They're not wanting to criticize PlayStation simply because they hold this, well, PlayStation has done A, B, C, D, E, F, G for the last 10 years and somehow can't do anything bad in the book. PlayStation is going to destroy the industry. Thankfully, there's a company like Microsoft, and with their big, huge bag that's pretty much tampering them down. Leave this company to their own vices. Man, you're not going to recognize gaming at the end of the day. It's so wild and it's so insane the things that they would do. In my opinion, I've always thought that this is just so interesting at the end of the day. And here's the crazy thing. The fact that for the most part, a lot of people have ignored this and in some cases have championed it while at the same time trying to criticize Game Pass is even much more scary. This is such like cult-like mentality where people cannot critically think about some of the things that they think they believe in or things that they think are actually great things. It's just so weird at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know how else I can put it to you. This is madness that we're seeing in the gaming scene right now. To think that somebody would say that money hiding a game, keeping it in lockdown on one platform, while we PlayStation ourselves, go and then go find money elsewhere, while that game is still locked down on a different platform, is just wild. And I haven't even put the Final Fantasy 16 one here. I haven't put the Final Fantasy 7 remake one in here. So those other games that are coming that are third-party games, this video is for the developers and for the creative direction. You're making a short-term decision that's going to harm your brand long-term. You literally are. Do you know who's going to go compete with you on PC when your game is finally ready to leave the exclusivity chains? It's Spider-Man 2. Oh, yes. You have no idea what you're signing up for. Better read the fine print of those contracts and estimate. Look at the calendar. Because before you know what's going on, you're either locked down while PlayStation is farming money on other platforms, while you are sitting there with only 1 million in sales, with nowhere else to go find money from. I'm sure we're starting to see the picture right now. If I wanted to put my conspiracy theory hat on, I could almost say maybe it's on purpose. Oh, I better leave. We're starting to get too far deep. Thanks for watching. Peace out.